Papery skin after 60 is treated like a fact of life, but it's often the result of a weakened barrier and silent collagen loss. And the truth is that it can be reversed. And today, we'll show you how. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast. In this episode, we're exploring the hidden crisis of crepe skin, why it happens, what truly works, and how seniors can regain confidence in their own skin. Because a study published in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology found that more than 60% of adults over 55 experience some degree of barrier dysfunction, leaving them vulnerable to accelerated wrinkling, dryness, and even infection. Misunderstanding this often leads to wasted money, frustration, and the false belief that fragility is simply normal aging, and no one is better equipped to guide us than Japan's oldest practicing physician, over 100 years old. Again, tuning in live from the studio, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara. Welcome back, my friend. It's wonderful to be here again. So, John, how can we expect the skin to look strong on the outside if the deeper layers that support it have quietly been crumbling for years? We absolutely can't. And that's the part so many people miss. You can't fix the surface if the structure underneath has weakened, right? Indeed, the hidden risk is that fragile, thinning skin is often blamed on nothing more than getting old. In reality, it's the product of neglected hydration, weak barrier repair, and oxidative stress, all of which can be improved. The tragedy is how often people are told to accept it as natural when what they are really facing is overlooked science. So in this conversation we will unpack 3 powerful remedies. The first repairs the barrier. The second stimulates deeper collagen remodeling. And the third provides lasting firmness and protection. We'll look at how each one works, who it helps most, and how to apply them correctly. If you stay with us to the end, you'll walk away with a complete routine that is simple, evidence-based, and capable of transforming how your skin feels day to day. And we really want to hear from you in the comments whether you have any questions about this episode. Yes, we are trying to answer all of you. So, do not be afraid to ask us anything. Now, let's continue, Doctor. So, basically, what you're really saying is that the changes may look like ordinary aging, but if we misunderstand what's really causing the change, we waste time, money, and hope chasing the wrong fixes. Exactly. And that's why we're going to break it all down. We'll walk through 3 layered remedies: hydration and barrier repair, collagen support, and gentle tightening, so our listeners can finally separate empty promises from what truly delivers. By the end, the path forward will be clear, practical, and within reach for everyone. I can't help but think of a friend of my mom's. She used to tell me that no matter how carefully she chose her creams, her hands still felt so thin and fragile that she avoided reaching out to shake hands in public. It wasn't vanity. It was the quiet embarrassment of skin that no longer felt like her own. And I know so many listening right now can relate to that loss of confidence. John, stories like these I hear from patients every week. Fragile skin is not just cosmetic. It touches dignity and daily comfort. And that brings us to the first real question. What is actually happening beneath the surface when skin turns creepy? And where should a senior begin if they want to rebuild it? When skin becomes creepy, the first thing I point to is barrier decline. Imagine your skin as a wall where the mortar between the bricks has thinned, water leaks out, irritants seep in, and the surface starts to collapse. This breakdown is accelerated by sun exposure, chronic dryness, and oxidative stress, all of which are far more common after 60. So, it's not simply about getting older. It's about the conditions we allow the skin to live in every day. Exactly. Age alone does not dictate fragility. It's the combination of environment and neglected care that speeds the change. If the barrier is repaired and hydrated properly, the skin can regain resilience, even in later decades of life. That makes me wonder how many people right now are buying creams that promise firmness without realizing those products never touch the real problem. Too many, John. Most over-the-counter creams sit only on the surface, giving a soft feel for hours, but never penetrating where collagen lives. It is like polishing the outside of that brick wall without filling the cracks inside. So the frustration seniors feel spending money waiting for results that fade comes from chasing surface comfort instead of true repair. Yes, and it creates a cycle of disappointment. Each new jar promises the hope, but the science behind barrier repair is almost never explained to the consumer. Which means the issue isn't lack of solutions, it's lack of understanding of what the skin actually needs at its foundation. That is correct. The good news is that we can interrupt that cycle by using targeted natural ingredients, ones that both hydrate and rebuild the lipid barrier. This is the foundation step, and without it, no deeper treatment can succeed. And that brings us perfectly into what our listeners have been waiting for. Because if the root of creepy skin is barrier decline, then we have to ask, what can seniors use at home and safely to strengthen that barrier? What does the first step look like in practice? And how can it be done in a way that builds confidence instead of draining hope? The first step, John, is what I call the foundation blend. It combines 3 simple elements: coconut oil, aloe vera, and vitamin E together. They do what store-bought creams rarely achieve: repair the mortar, hold water in place, and shield collagen from free radical damage. So, these aren't exotic or expensive. They're ingredients many people already recognize from their own kitchens or medicine cabinets. Yes, and that is part of the beauty. Coconut oil supplies lauric acid that slips into the cracks of the barrier. Aloe vera provides deep hydration that actually plumps tissue, and vitamin E acts as a fire extinguisher against daily oxidative stress. Used together, they create a synergy that no single one of them can accomplish alone. I imagine though, if someone used them the wrong way, too much, too little, or at the wrong time, they might think the remedy doesn't work. Precisely. Timing and method are as important as the ingredients. Applied on damp skin in the morning, the blend sinks in and performs its work. Applied on dry skin at night, much of its potential is lost. That reminds me of so many seniors I know who say, "I've tried natural remedies, but they never made a difference." And it makes me think maybe it wasn't the remedy that failed, but the way it was prepared and applied. Which is why I want us to slow down and walk carefully through the exact recipe, the right proportions, and the small details that separate disappointment from transformation. To prepare it correctly, the balance matters. 2 tablespoons of unrefined coconut oil form the base. 1 teaspoon of aloe vera gel adds the hydration, and just a single drop of vitamin E provides the antioxidant shield. Whisked together, it becomes a light blend that spreads smoothly without overwhelming the skin. That sounds simple enough, but why does such a small drop of vitamin E make a difference? Because vitamin E is potent. Even in tiny amounts, too much can make the blend unstable or greasy. But 1 drop integrates into the lipid barrier and neutralizes free radicals right where they attack collagen fibers. This is a case where less truly is more. And I can imagine some listeners thinking, I'll just slather it on for faster results. When in reality, restraint is what allows the skin to breathe, then repair. Which makes me want us to highlight exactly how to apply it. Because if seniors get that part right, they'll begin to see the first signs of change within days, not months. Application should always be on freshly cleansed, slightly damp skin. That surface water acts like a delivery partner, helping the oils and aloe travel deeper instead of sitting on top. A pea-sized amount is enough for the entire face, and gentle upward strokes encourage circulation without tugging fragile skin. So, the trick isn't slathering on more, but using the right texture and timing to let the skin absorb what it needs. Correct. Too much product suffocates and leaves residue, while the right thin layer allows hydration and antioxidants to lock in naturally. And seniors with oilier skin can even flip the ratio. More aloe, less coconut. So it adapts to their needs. That's reassuring, because it means this isn't one rigid recipe, but a flexible foundation. And it makes me think that once listeners understand this principle, they'll be ready to move with us into the second remedy, the step that goes deeper, where collagen itself begins to respond. When people stay consistent with this foundation blend, results appear in layers. Within a few days, the skin feels softer. By the second week, fine lines begin to look less pronounced. And by the 4th week, there is a visible glow from the protective work of vitamin E. These are not overnight miracles, but steady signs that the barrier is healing, and water is being held where it belongs. So what you're saying is the timeline itself is part of the proof. It's the body rebuilding gradually, not a trick that washes away the next morning. That is correct. True change happens when the skin repairs from the inside out, which takes weeks, not hours. The mistake is expecting instant transformation and giving up before the biology has time to respond. And that makes me realize how many seniors abandon what could have been life-changing simply because they didn't know what progress should look like, which is why I think it's the perfect moment to turn to the next stage. Because once the barrier is repaired, the real question becomes, how do we wake up the collagen network beneath it? To restore collagen, John, we turn to an overlooked but powerful oil, castor oil. It contains rejuvenate acid, a fatty acid not found in coconut or olive oil, which penetrates deeper into the dermis where collagen fibers actually live. This depth allows it to nudge fibroblasts, the very cells that produce collagen, back into activity. So, this isn't just surface level smoothing. It's a way of signaling the skin to repair its own structure from within. Exactly. Custard oil is thick and sticky on its own, but when blended with coconut oil, it spreads evenly and nourishes both surface and deeper layers at the same time. And when we add flaxseed gel rich in omega-3s, we create hydration pillows inside the skin structure, filling and supporting areas that would otherwise collapse. That makes sense. And I can imagine a listener thinking, if collagen loss is part of aging, is it really possible to coax those cells back to life? Yes, and the research supports it. Studies have shown that rejuvenate acid reduces inflammation and promotes collagen remodeling, which means we aren't forcing something unnatural. We are helping the skin remember its own design. When combined with the hydration of flaxseed and the support of coconut oil, the effect is firmer, more resilient skin over time. And that leads us right into a critical transition. Because this isn't about chasing youth, it's about restoring strength. So, seniors can feel comfortable showing their arms, their hands, their faces, without covering up. Which makes me want us to unpack exactly how to prepare this collagen booster, when to use it, and what realistic changes listeners can expect week by week. To prepare the collagen booster correctly, I recommend 1 spoon of castor oil, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, and half a teaspoon of freshly ground flaxseed soaked until it becomes a gel. Blending these creates a rich paste that spreads more easily and penetrates deeper than any one ingredient could alone. Applied to the neck, chest, arms, or even under the eyes, it delivers hydration and signals collagen remodeling where the skin needs it most. So instead of a temporary tightening cream, this is more like a treatment that encourages the skin to repair itself over time. Yes, that is the key difference. Store-bought firming creams often rely on caffeine or polymers that pull the skin tight for a few hours only for the effect to vanish after a shower. The collagen booster works from within, asking your fibroblasts to do the work they were designed for. And that explains why results come in stages. First hydration, then subtle thickening, and finally strength returning over several weeks. It makes me think our listeners will want to know exactly how often to use it so they can be realistic and patient with the process. 4. Frequency, I suggest using the collagen booster 2 or 3 times per week. Leave it on for about 15 to 20 minutes. Then rinse gently with a warm water so the oils and flaxseed do not clog pores. This rhythm gives your skin enough stimulation to remodel without overwhelming it. So, this isn't meant for daily use, but more like a deeper session a few times a week, almost like a mini treatment. Exactly, John. Daily application could be too heavy, but this cadence keeps the collagen network awake without stressing the barrier. It is the same principle as exercise. You need rest days for the body to grow stronger. That's a powerful comparison because most people wouldn't think of skin needing a recovery rhythm. It does. And respecting that rhythm is why results build steadily. By week 1, you notice more suppleness from flax seed. By week 3, the castor oil begins remodeling. By week 4, the skin often feels denser and less fragile. So, the timeline is progressive, and if listeners know what to expect, they're less likely to give up early. Yes, and real-world stories show this. One woman in her 70s told me she finally stopped covering her forearms after a month of this practice because the crepe-like look softened into healthier texture. For her, that was freedom. That's inspiring, and it speaks to how these small routines affect more than appearance. They restore confidence. Indeed, John. This is why I remind seniors that these remedies are not cosmetic tricks. They are functional support for the body's largest organ, helping it perform better in protecting and connecting us. And that's what I love most about this conversation. We're not just sharing a recipe. We're reframing aging skin as something you can influence with knowledge, patience, and care. Which makes me eager to move forward, because now that we've built a strong foundation and awakened collagen, the next question is, how do we refine and tighten the results, giving the skin that final layer of resilience? The final step, John, is what I call the advanced restorer. Here we bring in green tea, brewed strong and cooled because it is rich in EGCG, a compound shown to slow collagen breakdown. When we combine this with raw honey and the castor coconut base, we create a mask that not only nourishes but gently tightens the skin. So instead of buying another tightening cream, seniors can actually prepare something in their own kitchen that works with biology rather than against it. Yes. And that is the crucial difference. Honey draws moisture in and forms a light natural film that tones without harsh pulling, while the oils anchor antioxidants deep into the skin. It is simple but very effective. And I imagine this isn't something you would apply daily. Correct. Correct. Once or twice a week is enough to refresh and reinforce what the other remedies have built. Think of it as pressing the reset button after stress, travel, or long days in the sun. That reset idea resonates because many seniors feel their skin looks older after just a tough week or two. Exactly. And this is where the advanced restorer offers reassurance. It does not replace the daily foundation or the collagen booster, but it adds polish and protection so the results last longer. So, it's really about layering. Hydration first, structural support next, and finally refinement and protection. Yes, that is the full picture. Each step prepares the way for the next. And together they create a rhythm that skin can respond to naturally. And that rhythm is what excites me most. Because seniors don't need a dozen products cluttering their shelves. They need a clear path, something that feels doable and sustainable. Which makes me want to pause here and help our listeners understand not just the remedies, but how to weave them together, week by week, into a routine they can actually live with. John, the truth is that seniors don't need complicated routines. They need consistency and respect for the skin's natural rhythm. When you follow these 3 remedies with patience, your skin doesn't just look different. It feels stronger and more comfortable to live in. That's such an important reminder, because what I'm hearing is that this isn't about chasing youth. It's about building resilience. And before we close, I'd love for you to give our listeners a one-liner, something simple they can carry with them the next time they look in the mirror. If you remember nothing else, remember this: strong skin comes not from one miracle product, but from steady layered care. And the good news is it's never too late to begin. That line is powerful, and I know it will stick with people. So, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to thank everyone for listening and encourage you to try these steps for yourself. And if you found value here, check out our episodes with Barbara and Neil on our brand new